afternoon, hello, and welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. Today, as a midweek boredom buster, we are making something that is not a dish, not a curry, but a spice blend. Yes, this is the secret spice blend that I sell on my website, but today I'm going to disclose how you can actually make this exact same thing in your kitchen. And the best part about it is that you can make a big batch. You can see mine is kind of almost down to the bottom. You can make a big batch and put it in a airtight container and stick it in your fridge or freezer, and it lasts for months and months and months. Okay, so without any further ado, let me just familiarize you with ingredients. Now, it might seem like it's a lot of ingredients, but trust me, when you're doing something good, patience really pays off. It's these many ingredients. I think there's more ingredients that you need for mac and cheese. So, don't complain. Yeah, so these are the ingredients. I'm going to familiarize them to you in a minute. And I will also flip the camera angle so that you can actually see what's going on. Okay? So, there you go. This is my little food laboratory. So, running through the list of ingredients, what I have going on here is I have curry leaves. And these are easily available in any Indian market. They come in a Ziploc bag like this. And there really is, like, in the terms of flavor profile, this is a staple herb that's used in South India. It's great for your gut. It's great for digestive well-being. And it's something that's a staple in the flavor toolbox in the south of India. There is no flavor substitute for it. And if I had to describe what it tastes like, I would say if parsley, pepper, lemon juice, and cilantro had a baby, then it would taste like curry leaves. Okay, so now the leaves are always sold fresh, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to dry roast them so that we can make them nice and crisp. You can see how it's crisp. We can make them nice and crisp, and that's the way to draw out the moisture from these. All right, and once these are all, so we will be individually dry roasting a lot of ingredients and then setting them aside. And after that, we will be grinding them in here. So I use a commercial grinder, but if you have a simple coffee grinder at home, you can totally, by all means, use that. Keep an eye on this. The idea is to just draw out the moisture so that your spice blend, when you put it in the fridge, will have good longevity. Now, this is a spice blend that you can use for any kind of lentil stews, any curries that you're making. And if you add a little coconut milk to it, oh my God, the flavor profile is really, really off the charts. Yes, you can say thank you to me later once you try it on. And it's great for one of those lazy days when you just want to put some lentils in your slow cooker, or you want to put some lentils in your Instapot, and you want to throw in some frozen vegetables. Add a teaspoon of this, and you'll be surprised at how aromatic and flavorful your stew is going to turn out to be. Okay, so these are pretty much done. You can see they're literally crumbling, right? So they're going to be very easy to grind. We are going to set this aside. The next thing that we are going to roast is, and I'm using an electric burner, but keep your flame medium to low, okay? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm using Bengal grams. This is also called chana dal in Hindi. It's 2 tablespoons. I'm using tur dal, which is pigeon peas. This is also 2 tablespoons. The lentil stew is actually made with this. And when we roast these and use them in the spice blend, it gives a nice body to our stew. And this is urad dal, which is also called matpe beans. And these are all very easily available in Indian grocery stores. You can also search for it on Amazon. Everything is, I think Amazon has everything. The only thing they don't sell are moms and dads and kids, but other than that, I think anything that you need from a needle to a rocket, Amazon has it. So we're just going to gently dry roast it till the color changes just a little bit. I assure you, it might seem like it's a lot of steps, but trust me, once you make it at home, you will never go back to store-bought sambar powder, because this is the purest form of flavor that you can extract from all your fresh ingredients, and it lasts you for a long time. So I know that when I get to this low on my inventory, then I have to actually make a batch for my house, and I use it all the time. I also use it in my dry dishes a lot, especially because I love South Indian flavors. And without having to go through all of this every time I'm cooking something South Indian, I just put a teaspoon of this and I make my dish in coconut oil or I add coconut milk. Also, if you're oil free, this is great because you can actually add this powder to any stew that you're simmering, and you really don't need to use any oil to give it that body or to give it that flavor. Oh my god, the roasting of these lentils, it's going to release a very nutty sort of an aroma. So you can actually just gently roast them around. The color will change slightly, and I think the most noticeable will be the mat pea beans because they were pretty much white. They still are, and now they're turning a little bit golden. They're turning a little bit brown. So we are going to continue to roast these. And you will know from the aroma, but just keep a close eye on it. This is not the time to walk away because if it burns, then that's not going to be any fun. Alright, so just give it a gentle stir. You can use this kind of a pan. You can use a wok. A lot of people actually also roast their spices in the oven, but you know, I'm such a bakerphobe. I'm just afraid of the oven. I'm not friends with it. So I like to do everything on the stove top. I just feel like I have more control that way. Okay, so I think just a couple of seconds more and it'll be done. And don't play with it too much because then it won't get the chance to actually take on any color. So give it a little stir and then leave it for a few seconds, then go back and give it a stir and then leave it for a few seconds, right? Yeah, it's extremely aromatic. Like if you came to my kitchen right now, between the curry leaves roasting that we just did and this, it's just absolutely, absolutely mouth-wateringly fun. So sometimes it's nice to make something that's going to make your life a little easier, right? Instead of just making one dish at a time, one dish at a time. If you made like a spice blend or made a powdered spice blend, it makes your life a lot easier. So I thought I would share this with you, and it's not a secret. I mean, you can make it at home. If you feel lazy, you can just go to my website, Queen's Curry Kitchen, and order this. It's already done for you. But I feel it's a lot of fun to make things from scratch, right? Okay, so the color has changed, and you can see there's a nice aromatic. All the lentils are pretty much turned brown. So I'm going to take these out in a pan. You know what? Let me actually bring the pan closer so you can see what it looks like. And since we have to grind it all together, it doesn't matter if you put them in the same, if you take it out in the same plate or in the same bowl, it really doesn't matter. Okay, going in next, I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of cumin seeds, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of black mustard seeds, 1 teaspoon of fenugreek seeds, and 3 tablespoons of coriander seeds. I'm going to throw all these in, and because they're all seeds, they pretty much roast at the same time and temperature. Just have to keep an eye on it. We're going to get back into roasting. And roasting actually solves 2 purposes. It releases the aroma that is encapsulated in the seed, and also it gets rid of all the moisture that is in the body of the seed, which means that it gives your spices or your blends or your powders more longevity in the refrigerator, and you can use it over a longer period of time. So I can literally smell that it's, you know, very gently roasting. I'm gonna turn the heat a little bit further down. So coriander seeds, mustard seeds, fenugreek seeds, cumin seeds, and black pepper. The heat of this sambar powder comes from the black pepper. The body of it comes from the lentils that we just roasted. And the curry leaves, everything gets ground together in this grinder. I use a commercial grade, but if you have a coffee blender, like a coffee bean grinder, you can totally use that. You can see there's a slight smoke that's emanating from this pan, so I think I'm going to turn the heat down a little more because suddenly it's just going to go to start burning. And because we've used black pepper powder instead of peppercorns, you have to be especially careful because they tend to burn before the seeds actually get on any color. Okay, I can see the coriander seeds are actually starting to brown on the edges. They were pretty beige and golden, and now they're turning brown on the edges. I hope you can see the smoke that's emanating. I'm just going to roast this just for a few seconds more. I did turn down the heat. So I'm from the north of India, and this is not something that I would make in my home, or my mom would. This is not something that was made at home. We would always go to a South Indian restaurant to eat these curries and the sambar. But I grew up to love it so much that that's the one cuisine I can live on. And so I make it frequently. Also in the meal delivery service that I have, I always have sambar at least once a month on my menu. And a lot of my clients who are from South India are surprised at the authenticity and the beautiful taste, because it really has that homemade taste like their mom's. And I give all the credit to this spice blend that I learned to make while I lived in South India for a few months as I was working as a designer. That was like 20 something years ago. You never lose the skill, right? Okay, so the spices are beautifully roasted. I am trying to keep them from burning, and so I'm constantly stirring them. And you will pretty much know from the aroma, your nose will tell you that it's done. Okay, so that's done. And then the last thing that I'm going to roast is these dry Kashmiri chilies. There's about 15 of them that we're going to use, stem and all. And if you can't find Kashmiri chilies, you could use guajillo chilies or whatever dry chilies that you can find in your Hispanic market. Just remember that the bigger it is, the less spicy it'll be, and the tinier the chili, the hotter it'll be. So we're basically doing this to get a nice color. We don't want to burn them, because if it's burnt, then it's going to start looking like a very dark sambar powder. And that's not the goal here. We just want it to be a nice bright red. There are certain other things that we will add after grinding, and I'm going to let you know about that in just a second. I'm removing the stems only because I don't like to have stems in my food. But most traditional recipes, they don't bother. They just roast it and grind it with stem and all. That one was hot. Okay, so, and remember, if you are allergic to chiles, then wear gloves. Do not handle them directly, and also perhaps cover your nose. So when I make this spice blend for production, I actually wear a mask. I wear goggles over my eyes, because after the grinding, the heat of these chilies and the pungency of it really starts to irritate your mucous membrane. So it's going to start irritating your nose. It might irritate your eyes. So be aware of that. Just a word of caution out there. I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit, because I don't think like it's doing much. Some people like to take out the seeds, but I feel like that's not necessary at all. So once these are roasted, we are going to go into the grinder and grind everything together. It will become a fine paste. I'll show you the consistency of what the paste will look like, the powder will look like. Look at this. Isn't that a cute spoon? It comes with the spice blend. Whatever spice blend you order, it comes with a little cute little bamboo spoon, so you can scoop up your spices and then put them in your dishes. I thought that was a cute little touch that I wanted to add to my product. Okay, so you don't want these to be blackened. You don't want them to burn, but you just want to roast them just a little bit so that they'll be nice and aromatic and their color will bloom completely. That's pretty much the idea behind this. Okay, so these are about 15 of these. These are also going to go into this pan. I will turn off the heat. The next step is to actually go into the grinder. We have to allow it to cool completely. We cannot grind anything that's hot. So once it comes to room temperature, we will take everything, put it in this grinder, and all right. I thought it would be better if I could see, right? Yeah, once it cools completely, you will actually grind it in the grinder. And if you're using a coffee grinder, just make sure that it's not a coarse powder. It has to be a very fine powder. If you can't get to the fineness, then use a strainer or a sieve like that, and then just shake it out so that all the bigger granules will stay on top, and you will get a nice clean powder. Let me show you what the consistency of it looks like after it's been ground. So here, this is what comes in this packet. If you make it at home, just make sure it's really nice and smooth, because when you eat your stews, you don't really, it's like literally, it's just so fine. You can see there's like no granules. It's completely a fine powder. That's the consistency that you have to go for. And in a coffee grinder, depending on what brand it is and depending on what strength it is, sometimes it's a little less or a little more. Once you're done grinding, you're going to add 2 teaspoons of paprika, which is for the color, and you will add 1 teaspoon of turmeric into your jar, and then give it a blitz again so that it'll be well incorporated. Also, once you remove it from the blender, from the grinder, you will add 2 pinches of asafoetida, which is also called hing, easily available in Indian stores and on Amazon. And then your powder is ready to get strained and get stored in an airtight container. And then you can make your stews. You can boil your lentils. You can put seasonal vegetables in it and put a teaspoon of this, and you will be having a party in your mouth when you slurp and bite into your vegetables and your stew. So with that, I come to the end of today's video. Like always, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. If you had any questions from what you saw today, feel free to drop them in the comment box. And if you would like to order any of the products or my cookbook, The Vegan Indian Home, it's all available at www.queenscurrykitchen.com. I am Chef Nupur. I live in Queens, New York, and I make curry in my kitchen. So thank you for joining me. Be blissful and have a flavorful life. Remember that families that dine together shine together. So make sure you end your midweek boredom with making something interesting and exciting. Keep it spicy, keep it hot, and keep it totally flavorful. Goodbye. Until next time, take good care. Bye-bye.